Hey YouTube, Untamed here. So today we're going to talk Toyota 4Runner, and in particular, the 6th generation Toyota 4Runner that's on the horizon. For those of you who hadn't seen it, Motor Trend actually released a rendering of what they think maybe the 6th generation 4Runner will look like, and it kind of looked a little bit like a hybrid between the FJ Cruiser and the 5th generation here. So look kind of like a mix between the two, and it looks pretty cool. So I think no doubt that 6th generation 4Runner is going to look incredible. I mean, the Sequoia TRD Pro, the 2023 Sequoia TRD Pro was miles better looking than the previous generation. You know, the new 2022 and up Tundra TRD Pro, or just Tundra in general, you know, is debatable. But you know, they made a lot of huge strides when it comes to just the aesthetics of the vehicle, both inside and outside. But that begs the question, I mean, is that enough to make that next 6th generation 4Runner incredible, right? I mean, I think the current Tundra TRD Pro and Sequoia, although people love the look of them for the most part, especially the Sequoia, I think you do get a kind of a mixed bag when it comes to people liking it or not in their actual ownership, right? Because we've transitioned totally to the iForce Max for the TRD Pro in particular, and there's no longer a V8 option. That V8 option was a huge critical piece of that Tundra in the Sequoia before, right? Just bulletproof reliability, simplicity at its core, a giant naturally aspirated 5.7 liter V8, and that's what made it special. And I would argue that that is what makes the 4Runner here special. It doesn't have a V8, it has a 4-liter V6 tied to a bulletproof 5-speed automatic transmission. Old and archaic at this point, very thirsty at the pump, but you're never going to find yourself waiting with this vehicle in the shop for repair. It's completely bulletproof, right? So I mean, exceptional quality, made in Japan, this one in particular, so that gives this some additional style points even over the Tundra, right, and Sequoia, which are built in the US. So hopefully, I hope, I would be shocked if they transitioned it, but hopefully that 6th generation 4Runner will continue to be built out of Japan. Right, so and hopefully it will continue to have the same recipe for success. You know, at very least, body-on-frame design. We expect that at this point, that rugged body-on-frame design, which we find in this and we find over there in the Land Cruiser. So hopefully that will continue to be the case. One thing that we know will not be the case, or at least we have high confidence in, it will likely be a lower displacement motor with a turbo strap to it. So we're expecting it to be a 4-cylinder turbocharged power plant. That's what we're expecting. And I don't know, I have a hard time. I'd like to think I've never become that person who's the no replacement for displacement, that kind of guy. But when it comes to reliability, the naturally aspirated larger displacement motors tend to do a little bit better over time, excuse me. So whenever you put a turbo on it and a smaller displacement motor, you're making that motor work harder. No matter what. I mean, the turbo's spooling up, you're making it run at a higher RPM to deliver power. And I know there's going to be people who will maybe debate that, and for sure you can, especially when it comes to a diesel motor, that makes more sense. But when it's tied to a gas motor, I just have a hard time having that same level of confidence and peace of mind that it was going to last me 250,000 miles with very little issue, right? So this right here, very little maintenance is required to make it last a very long time, 250,000 miles up. There's so many testimonials of people who have experienced them lasting that long with very little issue. So I am very hopeful. I am hopeful in Toyota for them to deliver another product that will last as long and be as reliable. But hearing that it might be that 4-cylinder turbocharged motor doesn't leave me with a whole lot of confidence. So when you think of the values, you can't help but wonder how the 5th generation 4Runner here is going to fare over time. When you compare it to the Land Cruiser, they have an LC300. There's a 300 series out. And this is the 200 series, of course, and they stopped offering it in the United States after 2021. This is the 2021, the last year Heritage Edition, right? And I've heard from a number of people at this point that the 300 series in other parts of the world are actually going for less money than the previous generation 200 series. For a number of reasons, a number of examples have been given to me of whether it's different level of quality, there's no split hatch, you know, the different motor engines being offered in them. There's just a lot more confidence in the previous generation. And a part of me wonders if, you know, and I hope not, but I wonder if Toyota's kind of getting away from its mantra of building this vehicle the last 25 years with minimal maintenance. They go into that. Toyota technicians go into building the Land Cruiser with that mindset. This is a 25-year vehicle. And I kind of wonder if they're getting away from that. I hope they're not. I have no idea. I've never actually sat in a 300 series. I don't know what it's like. But based on what I'm told, people actually prefer, and the price tags demonstrate that the 200 series is a little bit better around the world still. And I wonder if that's going to be the case for the 5th generation 4Runner. This is, I think, among the last, along with the Land Cruiser, along with the FJ Cruiser that is no longer offered, among the last iterations of Toyotas that are true to what Toyota enthusiasts look for and what they seek out in a vehicle. And that is that rugged reliability, that body on frame design, and the very simplistic feel in and out, right? So although it has a very notable profile and just a very sleek design, it's not over the top, right? And granted, the color is, of course, Voodoo Blue is, but with the 5th generation 4Runner exterior, the aesthetics of it, they're not over the top. And I think a lot of people like that simplistic look. And when it comes to the interior, it does not get any more simplistic than this, especially with it being the 2019, of course. You don't have the additional frills, bells and whistles intact, no Toyota safety sense, no push to start, no updated infotainment, all that. This is bare bones. And for that reason alone, people have started to desire the FJ Cruiser, right? So they stopped offering the FJ Cruiser in the United States in 2014, and look at the values of those. They have skyrocketed, right? So if you're going to get a low mileage Trail Teams FJ Cruiser, you're looking to spend easily, well, when I say low miles, 10,000 miles or less. If you're going to try to find one of them, you're looking to spend $50,000 or more nowadays for a Trail Teams, for an excellent condition example one. So they have skyrocketed, and their values at the beginning were high 30s MSRP. So kind of wild. And I am hopeful that the 6th generation 4Runner sustains a reasonable price tag. They have continuously crawled up over the years, much like everything, because the cost of prices of materials has gone up over the years. We get that. COVID definitely didn't help anything when it comes to that. But I remember when these first came out, I think they're right around $44,000 when the 4Runner TRD Pro was first offered. Now we're looking at a starting price of, I believe, $53,000, $54,000 is where you're going to be at if you're going to be buying a brand new 2023 4Runner TRD Pro, if you can find one without a markup, of course. So I'm hopeful that they'll keep the prices down, because we know for a fact that they did not do that for the Tundra, right? So the previous generation Tundra, the 2021 and older Tundra, which had the very simplistic interior, the simplistic exterior, very stylish though still, I would argue, and that naturally aspirated V8, it had an MSRP of $54,000 in 2021. Now, when you look at the 2022 and up Tundra TRD Pro, what are you looking at? You're looking at $70,000, and that's before you get aced with a markup of some sort nowadays, right? So a huge jump. We're talking a $16,000, $17,000 jump in MSRP just because they strapped a battery pack underneath this. So that is a huge pill to swallow for a lot of people. And we buy Toyotas because, for the most part, most of us buy Toyotas because they're a very reasonable vehicle to purchase, right? You're not trying to be too flashy. You're not trying to get a Porsche. You're not trying to get a Range Rover. You're not trying to dive into that pricing either. We just want a very reliable, simplistic vehicle that we can have full confidence in. So when we start teetering into that $70,000 price range, and well, the Land Cruiser is more than that nowadays, but even that was not successful in the United States for the longest time because it was such a high premium price tag. And that's where kind of Toyota failed, I think, with the Land Cruiser. But all that to say, I hope for this 6th generation 4Runner, they keep it in the 50s. They keep it a very reasonable price. But I think we're going to see it in probably low to mid 60s starting MSRP for the TRD Pro anyway. So let me know what your thoughts are. I just wanted to voice my thoughts through that, see what your thoughts were, see if you'd seen the Motor Trend rendering that they've offered up, and let me know what your thoughts are. I appreciate you watching as always. Until next time.